So welcome back, everyone. And it's okay if we make mistakes because we're not used to being together. Red means your mic is on. White means it's off. Only two mics can be on at any given time. I mean, you just won't be able to hear yourself, or we won't be able to hear you if there's two mics on and you want to speak. And welcome to Kelsey, who most of you have not seen in person because she was hired while we were meeting virtual. So we're excited. She does know how to work her mic, and Mark will help if she needs any help. And here we go. Let's call the City of Milton Common Council meeting for Tuesday, April 19th, 2021 to order at 6 p.m. And can I get confirmation of appropriate meeting notice?
Meeting notice was posted on Friday, April 15th at Hometown Ace Hardware, Milton Piggly Wiggly, and Milton City Hall.
Thank you. And we will now proceed to the swearing in of elected officials. Hold your clapping until the end. Thank you.
I, Eric Stockman,
Having been elected as Common Council Alderperson,
having been elected as City Council Alderperson,
swear that I will support the Constitution
swear that I will support the Constitution
and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
and faithfully and impartially discharge the duties
faithfully and impartially discharge the duties
of said office to the best of my ability.
of said office to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
You can clap. Congratulations, Alderperson Stockman.
Swear that I will support the Constitution of the United State of Wisconsin
And faithfully and impartially
Congratulations, Linda. Alderperson Linda.
I, Ryan Holbrook,
having been elected as Common Council Alderperson,
having been elected as Common Council Alderperson,
swear that I will support
swear that I will support
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
and faithfully and impartially
discharge the duties
of said office to the best of my ability.
of said office to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you, Ryan.
Congratulations, Alderperson Ryan Holbrook. I guess we're going to do a photo after. Okay.
Audible.
And, you know, we're known for our adaptability. Okay, election of the Common Council President. So, do we have little slips of paper?
Only if there's multiple nominations.
Okay,
but,
okay.
yeah,
So,
we can create some quickly.
okay. So, we're entertaining nominations for Council President.
I'll nominate Larry Lane for Common Council President.
Is there a second?
Second.
Are there any other nominations for Council President? Any other nominations? Okay. All those in favor of Larry Lane being nominated council president, say aye. Is there anyone opposed? Congratulations, Larry. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Is there anyone opposed? Okay, we have an agenda. And now we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. And Alderperson Stockman, would you like to lead us? All right, public comments regarding items which can be affected by council action. Is there anyone in the council chambers that would like to comment on anything that is on the agenda? Okay, seeing no one, we'll move on to the mayoral proclamations. All right, our first proclamation is for National Volunteer Week, April 17th through April 23rd, 2022. Whereas the City of Milton is proud of the volunteers that serve our community to ensure Milton is a great place to live, work, and raise a family. And whereas the city is certain Milton's volunteers are the greatest asset to the community. And whereas Milton has numerous community organizations supported by volunteers, and the City of Milton has committees, commissions, and boards run by volunteers, including the Board of Review, Community Development Authority, Ethics Board, Historic Preservation Commission, Joint Fire Commission, Library Board, Friends of the Library, Parks and Recreation Commission, Police Commission, Public Works Committee, and Zoning Board of Appeals. And whereas the Milton Township Fire Department is supported in part by volunteerism with dedicated staff and directly help the City of Milton with numerous duties and tasks that assist in keeping our community safe. And whereas the City of Milton celebrates the individuals who contribute to the community. And whereas each year a special week is designated in our nation for the dual purpose of recognizing those who give of themselves and of encouraging all community members to become involved in volunteer work. And it is fitting at this time that we say thank you to all individuals, groups, and businesses who have given time, energy, and resources to their communities through volunteer service. Now, therefore, I, Anissa Welch, the Mayor of the City of Milton, do hereby proclaim April 17th through the 23rd, 2022 as National Volunteer Week in the City of Milton, and encourage our community members to celebrate and thank all of the volunteers serving our community. And further, I urge all community members to explore volunteer opportunities with our community nonprofit organizations, the City of Milton, the Milton Public Library, and the School District of Milton. All right. Our next proclamation is Public Service Recognition Week, May 1st to the 7th, 2022. Whereas Americans are served every single day by public servants at the federal, state, county, and city levels, these unsung heroes do the work that keeps our nation working. Whereas public employees take not only jobs, but oaths. Whereas many public servants, including military personnel, police officers, firefighters, embassy employees, healthcare professionals, and others, risk their lives each day in service to the people of the United States and around the world. Whereas public servants, including teachers, doctors, scientists, train conductors, astronauts, nurses, safety inspectors, laborers, computer technicians, social workers, and countless other occupations. Day in and day out, they provide the diverse services demanded by the American people of their government with efficiency and integrity. And whereas without these public servants at every level, continuity would be impossible in a democracy that regularly changes its leaders and elected officials. Now, therefore, I, Anissa Welch, Mayor of the City of Milton, do hereby proclaim May 1st through May 7th, 2022 as Public Service Recognition Week. And further, I encourage all community members to recognize the accomplishments and the contributions of government employees at all levels, federal, state, county, and city. And I have to say that the staff of the City of Milton are the best public servants. Thank you very much for all of your work, especially for that meal earlier today. That was really something. All right. Approval of the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Is there anyone opposed? All right. We have the consent agenda approved. Discussion and possible action regarding the T-Grant Agreement Amendment number 1 for the T-Track rail extension for Clausen Quality Chocolates.
So, in discussion with Clausen Quality Chocolates and Harbor Contractors, which is the contractor that was awarded the bid for the rail extension that will serve not only Clausen but the entire east side of the newest Crossroads Business Park extension. We have requested from the Wisconsin Department of Transportation an extension for the T-Grant construction process. Originally, that date was May 31st, but due to supply chain issues and mainly the weather, it's unlikely that that would be completed by then. They felt that it very well could be completed by then, but wanted to make sure that they didn't overpromise and underdeliver. So in discussions with us, we agreed that an extension to October would be more appropriate. This does not delay in any way, shape, or form the Clausen project. If anybody's driven out there in the last couple of days, they have steel erected. I mean, there's an actual building out there now. So this is just for the rail portion, the rail extension that will get from basically United Ethanol out to them. So the DOT was in full support and understood we're not alone in these issues. So that would require an amendment to our T agreement that was signed in January of this year.
Any questions or comments? Is there a motion?
I would move for approval of the T-Grant amended agreement.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Is there anyone opposed? All right, that motion carries. Discussion and possible action regarding a two-lot certified survey map along Gateway Drive.
So Capital Asset Investments has proposed a certified survey map which subdivides their existing 2.5 acre lot into 2 smaller lots. The reason for this is they intend to market the second lot, or the new lot that will be created, for commercial use. It's not clear at this time, or I guess I shouldn't say it's not clear. They don't have a defined user at this point in the process, but intend to disclose that when they bring forward a site plan, at which time I'm not sure when that will be yet. But because they are in the B2 zone district, all of the lot dimensions and street frontage meet the ordinance requirements. So there's no issues on our end from city staff, and we would recommend approval of the 2-lot certified survey map along Gateway Drive.
Questions, comments? A motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the 2-lot certified survey map along Gateway Drive.
I'll second that.
There's a motion and a second by Alderperson Stockman. All those in favor say aye. Is there anyone opposed? That motion carried. All right, discussion and possible action on residential exterior improvement program grant applications.
So although Inga wrote this memo, I don't think she's in a position to present. No, okay. So as folks are aware, this is, I think, the third year of the residential exterior improvement program, and each year we see this program become more and more popular. This will be the first year that we will have expended the entire allotment within the first kind of batch of applications, if approved as presented. So the CDA, or Community Development Authority, reviewed all of the applications that were submitted, and as you can see in the packet, has recommended approval in the amounts shown on the memo for the various grant applications, and then recommended not approving 2 of the applications for not meeting the eligibility requirement for the program. It's up to the Common Council if you want to address this batch as one, or if you'd like to review each application, or if you have questions, certainly I can assist in answering those questions. But there was a very deliberative discussion from the CDA regarding each application, and I thought it was very thoughtful and really wanted to honor the spirit of the program in their recommendations.
Any questions or comments?
So this is the final, this is all of what we had set aside for this program?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. If awarded, this would essentially fill or fulfill the allocation for 2022.
Mhm. Well, I just think that this has been such a good program for the city, and we do have a lot of streets that needed to have this assistance.
Yeah, I think the homeowners did a nice job on their applications, and CDA did a very nice job looking in great detail at all of the applications. So you can make a motion if there's
Actually, I was gonna say,
any further questions or comments.
is it possible we can review maybe increasing the amount in the future on it for cost every year?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That way.
Yeah, so the funding source for this program, as you're aware, is TIF, and you know there's really not there are no TIFs that are in financial straits. So the council could consider that. We could bring back that at a future date. It wouldn't have a budget implication because it's not funded through the general fund. So it's certainly within your purview.
If we could have it brought back, maybe a recommendation of what maybe we should increase it to,
Mhm.
that would allow more projects to be funded. But
Mhm.
last year we exceeded it by quite a bit of
Considerably, yes,
and then this year we met our quota basically within the first quarter.
correct.
So that means we probably need to put a little more money into this if possible.
Sure.
Because this just improves the city as a whole, anyways.
It's been
So-
very successful, yes.
Yep.
I'll move to approve the grant awards in the improvement program as presented.
Is there a second?
Second that, but I have a question,
Go ahead.
Teresa.
Are you
Is that-
are you seconding it first?
I'm seconding it first.
Okay.
And then my question is, are you talking about the ones as they were originally presented, or are you talking about the recommended ones from the CDA? Because there's two different.
Okay, the recommended ones.
Okay.
It doesn't list that in the motion here, but yes, that was what Al had talked about.
Just wanted to clarify. But yeah, my second still stands.
All right, there's a motion and a second. Any further questions or comments? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Is there anyone opposed?
Raising my hand like.
It's okay. Hand raising is allowed if we all know what you're doing. All right, that is approved. So this is another exciting item that we have not had to discuss in a while. Discussion and possible action regarding 2022 sanitary sewer televising bid award. And Alderperson Stockman has a look of horror as to why we find sewers exciting.
It takes a lot. So this is for the annual televising program that we do for our sanitary sewer collection system. We received 6 bids. The low bid was Northern Pipe. They bid 38 cents a linear foot for the televising. The total is $8,950.52. Looking at 23,500 and some feet of sewers, which is about 14% of our collection system. And we will have completed televising all of our collection system this year, after performing this work over the last several years.
Any questions or comments?
I had a question and a comment, Mark, but I think it's good for the public to know this is preventative in nature, right? Like
Correct.
going-
You're looking for
You know,
areas that need improvement, trying to assess the system to determine what levels of improvement are needed and where. Also looking for areas that could potentially contribute to sewer pipe backups and those kinds of things.
Last note, find me interesting.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I was gonna say, and Ninja Turtles.
Yes, we had a
Looking for
snake
the
one
Ninja
year,
Turtles.
yeah.
Anything else for anyone?
I'll move to award the 2022 sanitary sewer televising to Northern Pipe.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
I,
Anyone opposed? All right, that motion carries. Discussion and possible action regarding purchase of radar signs. We've been waiting for this for a while too.
So one of the items approved with the 2022 budget was the purchase of radar signs to be located at different streets within the city of Milton. The budgeted amount was for 6 signs. The total purchase price is $16,080 based on the quotes received, the low quote received from TAPCO. It is below the budgeted amount.
Any questions or comments?
just a comment, I appreciate that they're solar powered, we're trying to become a sustainable community, so that's great too.
So then you just order them and put them up?
Correct.
And what's the turnaround time once you place the order?
I think, I don't recall exactly, I think he said 2 weeks though, these are not far out.
So we only have 2 weeks left to speed is what you're saying? Okay, all right, gotcha.
You don't know where we are, though. So,
Oh, are you gonna stop emailing,
So there's
emailing
that.
us where you are?
and I just want to clarify too, I got a question today about whether those signs like capture license plate information or anything like that. These are not there are no photo capabilities. Traffic cameras like that are actually not legal in the state of Wisconsin. So, and I don't foresee that becoming legal anytime soon. So these are simply advisory signs. I guess I wasn't sure, Mark, do they collect data like speed data or no?
These do not,
Okay.
but they have the capability to add that software if we wanted them to.
Okay. So maybe some data, but even without it, it's more of an advisory to get the folks who want to comply and are surprised that they were going faster to slow down. And hopefully it'll hit some of these more hotspot areas we get the complaints about.
So could we add that data component and still be at budget?
I think it's highly probable. I see Mark's looking it up. Yes, we would be able to. It's about $500 more per unit.
For me, the data becomes important in a couple of different ways. Number one, it tells us kind of what the true nature of the speeding issue is at a particular location. And sometimes the people who give us complaints are surprised that maybe folks aren't going quite as fast as they thought, or the problem wasn't quite as severe as they thought. And we do that with real data. Now, there's always an issue with when you put a sign up telling somebody to do something, is it really a legitimate collection of data? So that's a factor, but nonetheless, data does inform us on where we should put our resources at. And so, yeah, if it's possible, I think it'd be valuable to us.
I'll make a motion then to approve the purchase of the 6 radar signs from TAPCO with the addition of the data module, so we can keep track of the information.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further questions or comments for anyone? All those in favor? Say aye. Oh, Linda?
I was just wondering, is it gonna take longer because we're adding the extra data component?
I don't know how long that would take to get. I'm looking here. Yeah, I don't have that information directly in front of me.
Well, we'll still have them for the rest of the school year, and that's what's important.
Yeah, well, the signs can be delivered, and then the data, if that's farther out, that's a component we could add.
Perfect.
All right, there's a motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Alright.
Is there anyone opposed? Okay, that motion carries. Discussion and possible action on 2022-11 regarding a 2021 budget finalization amendment.
So as the audit was completed last month on our 2021 budget and actual expenditures versus revenues, there was a residual amount of $181,000 left from the 2021 budget. As we have done in years past, when a residual amount is left over, we bring that forth to the council in form of a resolution to amend the previous year's budget to allow for those funds to be expended within that budget year as to not violate expenditure restraint. In the resolution that's prepared, staff has shown that those funds would be placed into the capital projects fund in order to allow those dollars to be utilized for various projects if as they appear and as those that were unfunded in 2021. And as I noted in the memo, as well as the supplemental memo that I provided today, the council can choose to amend that resolution tonight if they have specific expenditures in mind. But we need to have the resolution adopted by no later than May 1st. So our preference would be have it to be adopted tonight, because once May 1st passes, the audit then is filed with the state and we can no longer amend the 2021 budget. We don't have a list, but in the supplemental information that I provided today showed what it could be used for. The reason that we have left it somewhat open-ended is there are a variety of unknown capital projects that could happen during this year. So specifically allocating dollars for specific projects, although not undoable, I don't want to create kind of a false sense of where we are at financially. We know that there will likely be costs associated with the fire department changes, irrespective of the outcome of the referendum. We have some unique opportunities for funding infrastructure projects that are new this year that will require a match. So if we set those dollars aside in the capital project fund, we could utilize those dollars for our match. For example, with the bipartisan infrastructure bill that came out of the state of Wisconsin this year, one eligible road that we could address that has been on our capital improvement program for a number of years is High Street. That requires a 20% match. The 20% match would be $300,000. So that's a big chunk of change that we do not have budgeted in any way, shape, or form. Even if we put all of this towards that, we wouldn't be there. But, you know, those are the type of things that are coming down the pipe that we want to be mindful of. But at the end of the day, it is a council decision how these dollars should be allocated. A couple of you have reached out and said, you know, could we use it for this or could we use it for that? And, you know, depending on what this and that are, we can advise you as to whether you can or can't. But it would be our preference to make that decision tonight if there are specific non-capital related expenditures. For example, there's been a couple of folks have reached out and said, what about the Gathering Place? What about the Milton House? Yes, those can be funded through this, but that decision should be made tonight, preferentially or preferably, unless we schedule a special meeting prior to May 1st. by putting it, some or all or a portion of it into the capital program fund, we wouldn't need to identify specific projects because it would be in the capital program fund, which has a wider tolerance for changes. So that is kind of our general approach to this. Again, it can be amended. As I said today in the supplemental information, we anticipated being amended, but we needed to put something out to inform the public as to what the intent of this item was. So, with that being said, can hopefully answer questions or advise if there are ideas.
Larry.
Yeah.
Put your mic on. There you go.
Thank you. Just to clarify, once it's in the capital budget, then it belongs to capital type funding. right?
Correct. Yep.
So we couldn't come back and discuss all of the items together, meaning the gathering place, does that make sense, what I'm saying?
Correct. Yep.
We could do that.
No.
We could not. Okay,
Yeah,
that's
it
what I
would
wanted
not
to
be-
clarify.
It
Yep.
would not be advisable
Gotcha.
because once it's in the capital fund,
Then it's there.
it not necessarily. Once it's in the capital fund, and May 1st has surpassed,
Yeah.
any use of those funds for a non-capital related project would violate our expenditure restraint in the year 2022.
Yeah, with the state.
Right.
Gotcha.
Right.
Thanks.
Mhm.
That's what I
So
wanted to
again,
clarify.
not saying that money couldn't be allocated to those entities,
Right.
but it would just be ideal to do it tonight.
That's what I wanted to clarify.
Any other questions, Linda?
I know that all of the things that we have listed on here in your memo that you sent us out this afternoon are things that we're gonna have to be looking at. I do still have concerns for the gathering place, just because of what they do and the age group that they are taking care of. And I just kind of wanted to throw that out there. The same would have to be true with the Milton House. You know, these places had very difficult times, and we know that we couldn't offer them more of what they had asked us for assistance. I'm just kind of wondering what everybody else is thinking about it. I would like somehow to be able to give them more, but what's everybody else thinking?
No, I agree.
Teresa, is your microphone on? Thank you.
Yes, I agree with that. I think we came away with the idea that we would consider that pretty strongly once we moved beyond 2021, that if we had any money left over, that would be not our only consideration, but pretty strongly that we would keep that in mind following the pandemic, that they were really short with money because they didn't have the clientele coming in, that they needed to make up that money. We know that, yes, that now that the numbers are coming back up at both places, that they're going to regain some of that, but that still doesn't give them back those losses. So,
Would there be, would either of you have a suggestion?
my memory was still just to talk about another 10,000 each, so it would be a total of $20,000. I mean, we're not talking about tons of money here, but
Right.
enough to show them that we do support what they do and we do care about what they went through.
One other point of consideration is that we did contract with Miller Communications to help us with the referendum, and that is another project that we have going on. And I'm not saying what to do either way with the gathering place or the Milton House, but that is also something that you could consider funding a portion of with this. Yeah, we're still
I'm
in,
not trying to jump.
no.
No,
could I was thinking 5,000 each, but I'm not trying to debate the issue here. I'm not gonna nickel and dime those two organizations, but that's where my head was at as an alderman, so.
And if they, so would it be one amendment to the resolution that would be like, okay, we're going to amend the resolution to expend this amount of dollars, like it would be all wrapped in one amendment?
Correct, yeah, what we would do is we could effectively amend the resolution or edit the resolution, maybe that's a better way to say it, tonight. We have done that in years past. As you remember, Dan kind of sat there and clickety-clack and, yep, said, okay, this is what it is now, so.
Kelsey, are you gonna clickety-clack for us then?
I do have the resolution.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I do have the resolution up, so we can clickety-clack a little bit.
Where are we currently paying for the Miller Communications from?
We do not have a funding source allocated for it. As part of the 2022 budget preparations, I increased contingency as a potential funding source. But we don't have a specific line item in the budget, the 2022 budget, for that item, no.
How much would you want it, if we were to set aside money from this to pay for that, how much would you think would need to be set aside?
Their total project scope was 41,300, if I remember correctly, and we have already paid one invoice of 9,000. Do you remember, Kelsey?
I think it was 10,000.
Was it 10?
250.
Okay. So essentially 30,000 would.
Okay.
If I can ask to, was there interest on cost sharing on that or not with the?
That conversation has been,
I just,
if you don't
want to talk about it.
no, I mean, it's been thrown out there, but never
Nothing.
grabbed a hold of, no.
Okay, thank you. That's fine.
And I
At
would
this
have a
point,
question
right.
too. What does fire department related expenses mean? Isn't that pretty open-ended? Could it
It's very
include
open-ended, yeah.
that?
Not from the capital fund, no.
Okay. It has,
But it could be moved to cover. I
So-
mean, where are you talking about getting money to help cover the referendum?
For Miller or? For Miller or just general expenses?
Miller, the ones who.
So for Miller, we had set aside contingency funding for that in case there wasn't, money like this in a resolution that came about.
So we're not talking about any of this money for that?
I was,
Yes, we were.
that's
Okay,
been
so
allocated.
that's what I'm worried, or wondering about this money. Can that be applied to that?
Some of what's gonna happen can come out of capital, Miller can't. Does that make sense?
But what I was asking earlier was the fact that we could take 30,000 from this 181,000 and put it towards Miller, so we don't have to pull it out of contingency, thus leaving contingency and being a little more beefed up in a way to cover anything else that might occur. And so basically, instead of putting 30,000 into capital, we put 30,000 into Miller or the contingency, and thus allows us a little bit more flexibility, maybe. Because you could, if you had to, you could use contingency to pay for a capital item. Al?
Your logic is, I understand your logic, but the execution of it is not necessarily correct.
Okay.
We can't take money from 2021 and add it to 2022, because that would violate expenditure restraint.
Okay.
So what we would need to do in order to effectuate essentially what I think you're saying is we could amend the 2021 planning budget and include an additional 30,000. The issue is those expenditures won't occur until 2022 because we wouldn't even have had an invoice to cover that.
So then we really can't put money here from
Right.
this source. We can't put towards
Right. The only thing we could do would be amend the 2022 budget.
So you can't put it in contingency either.
Not in 2022
Right,
contingency, no.
Okay, so it
Yeah.
has to be capital.
It doesn't all have to be capital, you know, like the gathering place and those items could be funded
True.
through this, yes. The issue is that the expenditure that is Miller has not even been incurred yet. So we'd be pledging past dollars to future expenditures that haven't even kind of been planned for yet.
Okay.
If you take it out of Fund 100 and put it into the Capital Projects Fund, which is Fund 400, those same rules don't apply from a state.
Okay, thank you,
Levy
that's the
dollar.
clarification I think we needed.
Well,
But Miller would not come out of capital.
It cannot
It
come out of
cannot come out of capital,
No.
but some of the fire department expenditures can come out of capital.
Well, we don't know all what those
But we
are.
don't know what all
Right,
they are.
and that's why, from our perspective, leaving it open-ended could be better. For example, we know that there will be, we know that we have outstanding invoices from 5 Bugles for work that was completed in 2021. That could come out of capital. There are, if in the event that there are transitional costs related to equipment or capital, we could utilize those dollars then. So it seems counterintuitive, but that's the way budgeting works in the state of Wisconsin, I guess, is the best way I can say it.
So right now, what the council is talking about doing is setting aside, it sounds like, just to make sure I understand it, some funds for Gathering Place and Milton House. And they can do that with this. Correct?
Yes.
Yeah,
Mhm,
okay.
sorry.
And then it sounds like the rest goes to capital. It's kind of what it sounded like. If we can't put anything towards like Miller, for example, then
Right, you can't pledge past dollars for future expenses that have not been realized
And
yet.
then you,
Yeah.
at some point, come back to us with a list of how we might expend those dollars.
We can do that.
I mean, I don't know.
Right, no, we absolutely can. You know, our this year's a little bit different than in years past.
Yeah.
And the reason being is we have these big unknowns that are hanging out there, like the fire department and these new infrastructure bills that are being out there. So I guess to kind of cut through all of the minutia, if we were fortunate enough to get the bipartisan infrastructure bill grant funding, and that required a 20% match, and we didn't set aside any money for that, the only way we could even cover that match would be to borrow or turn those grant dollars down. That would seem to be unfortunate for projects that we know are in need. The same could apply to North Clear Lake Avenue and Madison Avenue as well. You know, we know there are needs at the library for their mechanicals. We know there are needs in this building for our mechanicals, as we're all kind of sweating up here. But we don't exactly know what those dollar amounts are. So it's kind of a cautionary tale. You know, in essence, you would kind of operate your own household this way. Man, my furnace is 17 years old. I don't know when it's going to go, but I better set aside some money for it today rather than wait for it to actually die and then try to scrap together $1,700. That's a kind of our thought process this year, as opposed to in years past where we could kind of just tick off a list.
So it would be come forth as they arise.
Very
basically.
likely, yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine,
Mhm.
just so I understood how it would
Yep.
come forward to us.
Yeah, there would be no expenditure of those funds without council approval.
Thank you.
All we would be doing tonight is shifting those funds from Fund 100 to Fund 400.
And then if you wanted to make a motion to amend, you still can give some funds
Yes.
to Gathering Place
Correct.
and Milton House. Right, is everybody on the same page with that? If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask, okay?
So I'm gonna go to the Gathering Place in the Milton House. Larry, I mean, maybe 5,000 each, or Teresa, I think
I-
10 is what we had talked about, and
yes, I think we talked about 10,000 each.
I
Are
kind
your
of,
mics on? Just make sure your mics are on.
I kind of feel like it's very important that we get that addressed. they had a lot of loss last year, not to even mention the members that they lost.
I mean, they agreed, kind of like we did with our, you know, we made some adjustments with our
Right.
intake as well, and so the gathering place gave up any type of dues and so forth because people couldn't afford some of that. Well, it left them. I'm not sure about the Milton House, and but yeah, everybody took a cut.
Again, I offered the 5,000 as an alternate to foster discussion. I'm not frozen on that or argumented about that amount either. I mean, I know there's a need, so.
Honestly, I'm fine with that. With the 10,000, or I'm fine with 5. Both those would be helpful to them. So it'd be nice to give them something. So sounds like we have 2 of you for 10,000 and 1 for 5, but that was as throwing it out as an alternate, so it makes sense maybe to go to 10.
And I can move that the Common Council approve Resolution 2022-11 amended with $10,000 going to the Gathering Place and $10,000 going to the Milton House.
I could second that amendment.
And Mark Schrader, the way that motion was read, would that be sufficient as to cover the edits to the resolution as presented?
Maybe I seconded it.
Thanks. So it would be, I guess, the now therefore paragraph would be so amended.
Right.
To provide that, to transfer, $161,000 from the general fund to capital projects fund and $10,000 each to the Gathering Place and Milton House.
Right.
That's, I understand that to be the motion and second.
And
Okay.
I amended, I seconded the amendment, right?
No, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure that,
And then the resolution
yeah.
second, is that correct?
Mhm.
Right, or
Yep.
you're doing both at the same time?
The motion included the
Okay.
amendment. Yeah.
I just wanted to be.
Was there a second? There's a second. There's a motion, a second. All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, good job, you guys. Okay.
Somebody's at your house, Randy. It's Amazon. It's Amazon.
Okay, so Kelsey, review of March 2022 financial statements. Do you have any questions or comments for Kelsey? Kelsey, do you have any comments for the council? How did we do on the audit?
The audit is good. It's about finalized, and I'll send the last motion into the auditor tomorrow, and then we should be finalized, but everything else looks good. The financials were done with the first quarter already of the year, and everything looks to be falling in line and no red flags at this point. So.
Thank you. Very good. Council, do you have any questions or comments regarding the financials? All right. We're going to move on to discussion and possible action regarding Common Council committee appointments. So you all received in your packet the committee appointments and also the citizen appointments or reappointments that we have right now. Does anybody have any questions or comments? I can summarize that the Fire Commission has stayed exactly the same as years before and the year before that. There's only been very minor adjustments. To Parks and Rec, we have Alderperson Stockman, and Alderperson Wilson will take Alderperson Holbrook's place on Community Development Authority. And I think as far as other appoint, and Alderperson Stockman's also on ethics, so.
Keep you straight.
Yes.
I'll make a
So,
motion to approve the committee appointments
as presented.
as presented, yep.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor,
Aye.
say aye.
Abstain, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it, so I'll abstain.
Okay. Anyone opposed? All right, that motion passes.
Could I just ask a question? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The Community Development Authority,
Mhm.
I thought that committee, we had specific chamber and business and that. So this Community Development Authority, is this a citizen? Or that you have listed for the vacancies? Is
So-
that a citizen or is,
also citizens on that committee too.
Yeah, Deb Williamson is the chamber director.
okay.
And Herb Stinsky is the community representative.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay. Okay, general items. We have a proclamation by Governor Tony Evers. So this is not my proclamation, but the week of April 25th to May 1st is Stand Against Racism Week. So after consulting with our attorney, he said that it would be appropriate and okay if I read Governor Evers' proclamation during general items. So I will read this one. Whereas the state of Wisconsin affirms that all Wisconsinites, regardless of race, creed, or ethnicity, deserve to be treated with dignity, respect, compassion, and justice. And whereas the state of Wisconsin recognizes that racism is a public health crisis that has harmed generations of Wisconsinites, and many local counties and municipalities across our state have formally declared racism as a public health crisis, and recognition of the work we have to do to make Wisconsin a more equitable, inclusive, and respectful place for all. And whereas we also recognize that meaningful steps to address and eliminate racism in our state require the full participation of all Wisconsin residents in dialogue, reflection, and action. And whereas the state of Wisconsin supports its YWCA affiliates in Green Bay, La Crosse, Madison, Rock County, Southeast Wisconsin, and Wausau in their mission to eliminate racism, empower women, stand up for social justice, support families, and strengthen communities. And whereas this week, the state of Wisconsin joins YWCAs across our state in celebrating Stand Against Racism, a signature campaign of YWCA USA to build community among those who work for racial justice and to raise awareness of the negative impact of institutional and structural racism in our communities. And whereas, in recognition of this year's Stand Against Racism theme, which is We Can't Wait, Equity and Justice Now, the state of Wisconsin encourages all residents, local businesses, educators, and community and faith-based organizations to celebrate diversity and advocate for the elimination of racism in all its forms. So this is from Governor Evers. And the Rock County YWCA will have a Stand Against Racism program this Thursday at noon at the courthouse. And they will also have speakers and recognition of the YWCA Rock County's efforts to stand against racism. So you are all invited, the public is all invited to participate in that, and I will be there, so maybe we will see some of you there as well. So moving on to committee reports. Who would like to go first?
Historic Preservation met last week, and one of the topics of our discussion was that April 29th is Historic Marker Day, or National Historic Marker Day. Just so you're aware, where people go about, and it's only, I think, 2 years old that's been going on for, but it's a day dedicated to cleaning up and repairing historical markers. And then also talked about some signage for some historic areas, and then also talked about an oral project that we're starting the process of talking about when City of Milton and Milton Junction merged.
Excellent, exciting. Any other committee reports?
You saw the work of CDA on this evening's agenda for the Residential Exterior Improvement Program, but additional item that was discussed at the CDA meeting last week was code enforcement with changes in staff and how we are administering building inspections. We are starting the process internally of kind of analyzing our code enforcement processes and seeing if they still make sense with the current arrangement of staff and contracted services, but also getting the Community Development Authority's opinion on what they view as kind of the areas of need and maybe changes in processes to make it more effective and efficient and hopefully effectual in the intended outcomes of code enforcement. So that'll be kind of a long process to determine kind of if there are going to be changes. It'll likely be incremental, as we already discussed with sidewalk shoveling and grass mowing. That process has changed, and we'll likely address some of those code enforcement issues as well on an incremental basis. But as those things kind of come into a more clear form, we will bring that forward to the council as well. It was a really preliminary conversation, and certainly there was an interest in having that discussion amongst that group, but we just ran out of time. So we'll bring that back up at our next meeting, which I believe is May 16th.
Any other committee reports? Okay, staff reports. Library?
Our Consolidated Elementary School Art Open House is on Monday at 5 p.m. So come take a look at all the great artwork from the students. And then next month we're going to be featuring Harmony artwork. Our food truck rally is coming up on Sunday, May 1st from 10 to 2. We'll have 12 trucks all stationed at the library this year. And then percentage other proceeds go to the library. And the list of trucks is on our website and our Facebook page. And then we are also selling gift packs for $25 for Mother's Day, featuring Story Garden mugs designed by Angie, coffee from Mitchell House Coffee, a keychain, and a greeting card. So come pick them up. Supplies are limited.
And I can vouch for the beautiful designs of the greeting cards because, as some of you may know, I purchased some and sent some out this week. Chief.
I don't have an update. I've been sitting here trying to think of something, and rather than continuing that, no update tonight.
Okay. Kelsey, anything?
Next week, I'm heading to my first Wisconsin Municipal Treasurers Conference, so I'm excited to go learn all about other treasurer duties. That's all I have.
That is very exciting. And where does this take place?
La Crosse.
Very nice. Great area to visit. You'll have a great time.
Thank you.
And then, Dan would always come back and give like a 30-minute presentation about what he learned. So,
Okay.
at least 30 and treats, T-shirts, mugs, whatever.
Okay. Whatever I can pour there. I'll see what I can come up with.
No pressure. No pressure whatsoever. We'll have the green curtain for you, just like we're going to have for Mark one of these days. Let's see. Jenny?
Okay, I I don't have much, but just as a reminder, Open Book is still going on. So if there's any community members that have questions about their assessments, there's only 75 that were changed this year since we're in a maintenance year. But if anyone has any questions about their current assessment, then it is open till May 1st.
Inga? Anything? No. Let's see, who else do we have? Mark? I just want you to know that the attorney has been pointing at you all night, like, make him talk, make him talk.
Utility staff started, or will be starting hydrant flushing this week, doing some maintenance projects at the wastewater treatment plant with some of the approved equipment that's been approved for purchase and replacement the last few meetings. Sidewalk repairs, we've got some areas marked out around town, so people might start seeing some pink paint. But we're going to be replacing some sidewalk that's broken, or putting a project out to bid to do that work. We'll receive bids for the 2022 street improvements later this week. That is Woodcrest and Chapel. That's about it.
What about the weather? You need to change it.
It's sunny.
Because you cursed us before and we are still under the no spring curse. He isn't even sorry. He has not even said sorry. Al?
Not a whole lot by way of update, but again, welcome, Eric, to our happy family up here. We're excited to have new faces in our local governmental arena. It's never an easy task, but as somebody who's been doing this for almost 20 years, appreciate the time and effort that everybody up here puts into this, because it's not easy. It's oftentimes very thankless, but it's important nonetheless. And as you saw tonight, it's not all, glitz and glamour. Sometimes you're looking at sewer tubes. So, for somebody to purposely sign up for that, that's commendable. So I appreciate that.
You'll have to narrate that when we get him back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's no closed caption for that. One other item, for folks who kind of know, Anissa probably knows a little bit, we have a very collegial group at City Hall, and sometimes we give each other a hard time, and unfortunately Mark and Jenny really seem to be the greatest instigators and recipients of that. But we have given Jenny some really, really nice awards over the last couple of months, really, some nice ones. She finished dead last in the March Madness bracket pool, for example, so she got a nice award for that. But tonight we actually have a real award. Jenny is recognized by the Cities and Villages Mutual Insurance Company as being an official emerging leader, and she was provided this lovely engraved trophy to be adorned in her office. So not all things we do are in jest. Some are very important, and I think that goes as an example of the staff that we have. Although many of us are very new, we are eager and dedicated folks who are committed to kind of continuing to improve. There really isn't anybody who's just kind of satisfied with the status quo anymore. We've got a group of people who are engaged and eager, as Kelsey talked about. She's going to go to her first Treasurers Conference. It's a welcoming, fresh approach to get new ideas. And as I talked about, my favorite word is perspective, perspective, perspective. And you cannot get perspective if you're only looking at the same four walls your entire life. So I applaud everybody who continues to take those initiatives. There are not requirements that I bestow on anybody, not requirements that the council bestows on anybody. A lot of these initiatives that these folks are taking on are at their own behest, because they want to improve, they want to be better at their job, and they want to make Milton a better community. And little tokens of appreciation like that from our insurance provider, who looks at that and says, boy, Milton's doing the right thing. Maybe we can lower their insurance premiums. I don't know. So there is positives that are tangible and intangible from that type of activity, and we appreciate Jenny. And Inga's probably got 50 of those awards in her office, and I'm sure Kelsey will have many. We're still waiting for Mark's first one, but
Mark
we'll
doesn't
get
get an award for stealing
So,
spring.
but
He will get awards.
That's my update. My update is really not an update at all. because I've said it a million times, we have awesome people working for us right now.
And here's for Jenny.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Are you gonna cry?
No, I'm okay.
Doing pretty good. Okay. And I want to say too that the council does set a nice example in participating in the trainings that Inga sets up, and we haven't really had any trainings in a while, and we used to have them pretty frequently. So I'm excited for our next training that we all get to be together for, which is May 3rd. And Alderperson Stockman has been, as soon as he walked in the door tonight, he had to look at his calendar, and we're trying to fill up his calendar as quickly as we can with commitments. And in addition, one of the things that we do to get to know each other and to be a stronger team is team building. And everybody really has participated. Now, what Alderperson Stockman, I bet, did not tell the family that came to support him that the audience also participates in team building. And since we have not had an audience in a while, you don't have to go to the microphone. You get to yell your answers from your seat, which is really kind of exciting because we haven't had anybody yelling at us in person in a long time.
Speak for yourself.
I'm speaking for me. I'm totally speaking for me. And tonight's team building, which the two marks, I just want you to know the two marks on the left love team building. They're usually the first ones that are like, yep, I'm all here for it. Here's my answer. This is a would you rather question, which we did one of these before too, and these are super easy for me to do. So that's why you're seeing more of them. And we do these at the county now, so super fun. Ready? Would you rather have the superpower of being able to move objects with your mind, or would you rather have the superpower to read other people's minds? You don't know that I'm gathering all your answers for a psychological profile, but no. So, anybody can go first. Oh, look at this. Our audience, somebody raise their, go ahead. Read other people's minds. All right. Who's next? Larry?
I'd rather be able to move large amounts, large objects.
To throw things at people?
No, I was thinking, how you could, help in countries that, don't have a lot of equipment, right? A lot of, road construction equipment. You can open up passes with the wave of your arm.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Read other people's minds.
I knew it. I didn't say I couldn't. I can. It's out now.
So I will, Ryan, you might be the only one who probably understands this analogy. Maybe somebody could surprise me if there's other people in the room. So when Charles Xavier and Magneto fight, Magneto can move things with his mind, Charles Xavier can read other people's minds, but ultimately Charles Xavier wins. So, right. Yeah.
So your answer is what?
Read people's minds.
I'm gonna do the counterpoint to that. I'm not sure I want to know what's in other people's minds.
Yeah, I know.
So I'd rather be able to lift large things.
I feel like people tell me frequently what's on their minds and what they think of me. So I would prefer to move objects too. Oh, Chief Pickering? Oh, great. Go ahead.
So, I'd love to be able to read people's minds.
Okay. I'm not surprised with that answer either.
I'm gonna have to say I would like to just be able to move things because I'm not a very patient person to wait for people to do it for me. And I just kind of feel like if anybody has anything to say to me, that they would say it, so I don't have to worry about reading their mind.
Thanks, Linda.
I have to worry about reading their mind because no one ever tells us the truth. So
See?
I'm just going to go
See?
with that.
I would just like to move large objects. I don't really want to know what people are thinking.
Well, we already know that librarians are Jedi warriors. Kelsey,
I'll go with reading people's minds as well.
the numbers people.
Okay, I will go. I feel like there is a few movies out there about people that are able to read people's minds, and it doesn't always go well, and it sounds exhausting. So I'm going to say move large objects with my mind.
I really like the thought that you put into that. Like, I didn't even think about all the terrible things that happen in movies when you can read people's minds. Right. Or what women want.
Want to know what people think.
I want you to turn your mic on.
I want to know what people think.
Thank you, Teresa.
With the 2 marks.
The audience and the 2 marks. Yes. Oh, that's very generous.
Whole company's at a tie.
Okay, I feel like the first 3 have gone in the audience. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 plus the reporter. Who he wants to be invisible. That's what he wants his superpower to be. Stay off Facebook or stay on it? Oh.
Facebook site?
I'll go with move objects.
Like clouds.
Yeah.
I'm putting in a request that you move the clouds out for the weekend. I'm just saying. That's where all the money is. And attorneys. Oh, go ahead. You know, this is going to be a YouTube video, and we're all going to be accused of practicing witchcraft, just for the record. Our attorney. What craft would you like?
Well, the problem with reading minds is you never really know if you're reading what they're thinking or what they want you to think they're thinking. So that would be the enigma right there. You know, what are you really knowing there? So I'd rather just move large objects and get them out of the way, and I don't need to worry about what they're thinking. So.
That was very analytical too. Clerks and attorneys. There you go. And Inga? Inga's practicing reading our minds in her little technological office there. So we're left with, you can do a group response too, those of you that are left in the audience. We're down to 1. Move objects. I really like how the moving objects transcends generations. We're all, yeah. I think more moving objects than reading minds, but not by much. Not by much.
Because we all watched Bewitched.
That is
I
true.
can't wiggle my nose like that though.
I tried to wiggle my nose. I tried to learn how to wiggle my nose, but I couldn't. And the Gazette, are you gonna? You just read minds anyways and print whatever, right?
No, he controls what people think.
That's right. Okay, you guys, you all did an excellent job. Welcome back. It's not easy to transition. This is the first time we have all done this in our lifetimes. We've never had to be in a pandemic and be remote as a council and then come back together. So give yourself some credit and some grace because it's something new. And I think everybody did excellent. And I don't think we had any more difficulties with mics than we normally have when we're in person. Or when we're remote with mute and unmute. So everybody did fabulous. And before I get too far off the agenda, our next meeting date is May 3rd. And those of you that are council members, you will have a training at 4:30 that day prior to our council meeting. I don't know what kind of food will be there for it, but I guess if we're going to make you sit through dinner, we'll have to provide some more food for you. Now, is there a motion to adjourn? Alderperson Stockman?
I'll make that motion to adjourn.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Is there anyone opposed? All right, we're adjourned. Good job, everybody. We can turn the recording off. I just want to thank the audience for your participation and for your support. We'd love to see it. Thanks.